So gimbals are pretty cool. Take one. In today's video, I wanted to talk about my top gimbal tips or considerations that you need to make when you're using a gimbal. Now, I do want to center it around one gimbal in particular, and that is the Zhiyun Crane 2S. I have been sent this by Zhiyun to have a look. They haven't given me any specifications or anything that I need to say in this video, so this is completely my own thoughts. It's not really a review video anyway, but I'm just going to be touching on a few features that make it really useful as a gimbal, especially if you are a Blackmagic Pocket owner. These tips are also for people who are kind of just beginning. I mean, if you've been using a gimbal a long time, you've probably run into these issues and you've problem solved them for yourself. So if you're a beginner, welcome. First up, let's talk about setup and strip down times, because that is a very important thing to keep in mind when you're using a gimbal. Gimbals can take a while to set up, a while to balance, and a while to strip down your camera enough to fit it onto the gimbal. Now, with compact gimbals like the Crane 2S and even my old Ronin S, you can do it quite quickly, depending on your setup. Mirrorless cameras, super simple. They're so light and you can very easily balance them on pretty much any gimbal you've got. The struggle comes when you're using something that's bigger, bulkier, or awkward shaped, like a Pocket 6K or a 4K. I've said it before, I'll say it again, the shape and size of those cameras is just weird. With something like my Ronin S, I used to have to strip down the camera completely, and then I also had to get extra accessories to make it work, like either an offset plate or extra weights to counterweight it. Even after getting those accessories, it was difficult to balance, so there is a lot of difficulty around using cameras like this with a compact gimbal like the Ronin S. As for their newer gimbals, I haven't seen their newer gimbals, so I don't really know if anything is going to change my mind on that. Now, when it comes to the Crane 2S, I didn't really need to do any of that. I did still need to strip it down slightly, didn't need any extra accessories, didn't need an offset plate, didn't need weights. It was really easy to balance. I was shocked, to say the least. I think that's one of the biggest benefits of having a gimbal like this. If you have a Pocket 6K and you're looking for a gimbal, this is the one. Now, in general, it's best to factor in setup times, strip down times, and all of that into your schedule if you're using this on a busy film set. It's also an opportunity to consider what gimbal you're using and what camera you're using and whether they're a perfect fit for each other, or if you do need to get those extra accessories to make it work, and if it's even worth doing that. Is it going to take too much time to do that sort of thing? And with that, you can kind of understand one of the reasons why productions tend to have one stripped down extra camera body. When you're deciding on the gimbal, have a look down to the very, very fine features. So with the 2S, I found one of the fine features was the lock-offs on every single axis. It made it very easy to transport as well as mount the camera, because you were able to keep all of the axes still and work one at a time in order to balance it. This is especially important if you have a camera that's bigger or awkward, like the Pocket. Second point, consider exhaustion, because it can be very exhausting to carry around a gimbal all day. Now, these new gimbals are of course rather light compared to bigger cinema-style gimbals, but still, you can get tired very quickly. If you're not used to long takes, if you're not used to carrying a camera around like that, it can be very tiring on your arms, on your legs, on your joints in general. Your back can get very sore, so just take care of yourself. There's a couple of things that you can do in order to minimize that risk. Firstly, you could just go more compact. You could look at using a compact style gimbal like the 2S. But if you do need to do something with a bigger setup, maybe consider getting an easy rig. Another practical way to stop strain is just don't use it as much. Don't go and frame up using your gimbal. Instead, maybe use something like Cadridge, which I've spoken about a few times on this channel. It's effectively an app that you can use to frame up and pre-frame what you're doing. It's a director's viewfinder, if you will. You select the camera, you select the lens, and then you can point it wherever you want. You can take shots on there as well, so you can show the director afterwards and they can see exactly what you're trying to frame up. That way you're not lifting a heavy gimbal, you're not moving around with it too much, and then you can just practice using Cadridge and then jump in using the gimbal when you're ready. That way you can also problem solve any issues that you think might pop up while you're shooting too, because, well, what you've planned in your head may not actually work in real life, so it's important to test run what you're doing. The last thing that might help with exhaustion is, if you can, get somebody to assist you in taking the gimbal off you when you're done with your shot and giving it back to you when you're ready to go again. They can also assist you by spotting, which is making sure that you don't run into things or hurt yourself while you're using the gimbal, because you're very concentrated on the camera and the framing. Everything around you kind of becomes a blur, so having somebody there to make sure you don't hurt yourself is very important. The Crane 2S really isn't that heavy in the scheme of things, but it can still make you exhausted. So there are some tips that'll hopefully help you. Not only should you not try and exhaust yourself, you should also not try and exhaust the batteries too much if you don't need to. How long are you going to be shooting for? Do you have time to charge batteries? Do you need extra batteries? But these compact gimbals tend to have a really fantastic battery life, depending on how well you've balanced it anyway, so you should be pretty good. The last thing I want to touch on, if you are new to using gimbals, consider the way you are moving. Having access to a gimbal is fantastic, and yes, it does make your footage really, really smooth, but it is important to still factor in the way that you are walking. To be honest, it kind of looks like you're sneaking around, and it also kind of looks like you need to pee. It is a full body movement. You really are just using your whole foot instead of just taking steps. Doing these sort of things just minimizes the bumpiness in your shot, so if you're moving and you're really rigid, you are going to see that bumpiness, you're going to see that up and down movement that people have naturally when they walk. But if you really pay attention to how loose your body is, how you're using your arms as a suspension, how you're using your legs, how you're walking, then you're going to see a noticeable difference in your footage. It takes practice, and yeah, you can definitely see here that I'm still not perfect either. It does take time, and you've really got to concentrate on it. But another thing you've got to consider is the movement in your shot. If your subject is moving and you are moving with them, your movement is going to be less noticeable. If your subject is standing still and you're moving towards them, consider your movements as well. Maybe you could stand still as well and move in with your arms instead of taking steps. I love that over the past few years, gimbals have become more and more accessible, and there's so many options out there. With the Crane 2S, I had an absolute ball being able to balance everything from my smallest mirrorless camera to my pocket on there without issue. And all of these tiny little design features like the lock-offs, like the very sleek and easy design to balance it, all of these things came together in a beautiful little package that can just work for pretty much any situation that I throw it in. I do have a bunch of other ideas that I want to do with this, and in fact I wanted to do them for the first video, but things have just been so hectic I haven't been able to do them. They will be coming in the future. If you have anything that you want to see with the Crane 2S, I'm happy to put it on a list and maybe we can do it. Right now I'm thinking about doing like a one-shotter and showing you how to light it as well as shoot a one-shotter. I don't know, we'll see. But the point I'm making here is the Crane 2S with a pocket is a match made in heaven. And I think it's absolutely perfect for any pocket owner or any owner of a compact cinema setup in general. No link of the week this week, but I did want to bring something up. I am going to change my channel name. My channel name will be changed to Flick. That's right, it's on the screen right now. I'm just working on doing new designs for the channel and things like that, like banners and lower thirds and stuff. So I will be changing it over shortly, just so you're aware. When I say shortly, I mean the next couple of weeks, because I need some time to make all the assets. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. Thank you to Zhiyun, and I'll see you next time.